So sometime towards the end of January and the beginning of February, I told my sister that I'd be upgrading her keyboard as a birthday present. Because why not, I guess. I sort of wanted to use it as an opportunity to both give something to my sister and I guess sort of give myself practice for modding keyboards. Since I've never really modded a keyboard before and I've always been interested in modding keyboards. Since I've been getting into mechanical keyboards a bit more as of recently, so, you know, I thought I might as well just go for it. God, what am I doing with my life? The keyboard in question was a $30 mechanical keyboard I found on Amazon, which, you know, is the generic, like, $20-$30 mechanical keyboard, that you'd find on Amazon. And it had Otemu Blues and what I'm pretty sure are ABS, just generic ABS gamer keycaps with gamer font and shit. And I wanted to give her an upgrade since it sounded pretty bad. Like there'd be times where I'm laying down late at night and my sister would be up doing something and I would just lay in bed, be like, so, yeah, not exactly the greatest times, but yeah, I don't really know what else to say. So I hope you all enjoy my very scuffed first upgrading of a keyboard. Alright, so sister gave me her keyboard. The keyboard that I gave to her a while ago, and it looks gross. Ugh. What the fuck? I feel bad. It sounds really bad too. 30 seconds monkey type. Oh boy. It's so gross. So terrible war crime of a keyboard aside, the keycaps that I got her are a matcha themed XDA set that I found for actually about $20 on AliExpress, and I went for the Japanese text option because my sister is a fucking weeb. Honestly, for $20 set of keycaps, they did not look that bad. I think the only gripe I have with it is that some of the printing on the modifiers looked a bit off. The regular keys looked fine, and honestly it probably might just be me. Everything looks pretty good and they actually feel pretty good. And for switches, I got my sister some Akko CS Matcha Green switches. They are linear switches and aren't really that heavy at about 50 grams of operating force. When I talked to her about switches, she said she wanted something linear and nothing like too heavy, so I thought these were fine, and she really wanted to go with a green theme for the keyboard, so, you know, I decided to get her some green and green keycaps and green switches, cause why not? Speaking of the switches actually, here is a little sound test of them stock. These actually feel really smooth. Hey, that's pretty cool. So yeah, as I said, the switches actually felt really smooth stock. I don't think I really need to lube them, but I decided to do so anyways. So I decided to just lube them with Krytox 205 grade 0, no films, and I bag lubed the springs with some Krytox GPL 105, and here's how they sounded after I lubed them. I'd actually done the whole process of lubing the switches prior to actually getting started with the keyboard, because I sort of just wanted to kill time, I guess. But that being said, I also had to I also had to take apart the keyboard and clean it. I think the main lesson to be taken away from this bit of me taking all the keycaps off with my fingers is it's to get a keycap puller. Get a keycap puller, kids. Yeah, my fingers really hurt after all this, and also just felt really gross after this entire process. Nah. God. Okay, PSA. Please get a keycap puller. Would definitely not recommend. After that, I sort of just looked for where the screws were and took out all the switches. And another thing to take away is I don't know if this is just my keycap puller. I don't know if it's just these switches being inherently terrible, but do be careful when pulling out the switches, because I kind of busted some of them when pulling them out. I'm breaking a lot of these switches in the process, apparently. Not that there's much that's being lost anyways. You know, these switches and these keycaps hold some sort of sentimental value to me. After all, they're what got me into mechanical keyboards in the first place. So what a better way to send them off than to... So anyways... So after all that, I just need to unscrew all the screws and take the top plate off, which, you know, pretty standard. Just take out all the screws and take the top plate off. And I ran into a bit of an issue. And this should just come off like this, right? Don't tell me there's a fucking screw at the top that I'm missing. Yeah, spoiler alert. See that little logo at the top of the keyboard? These motherfuckers put a screw under that fucking logo. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, like, I spent a good, like, 10 or so minutes just so confused, and... this is terrible. Like, but for why? But for why? After experiencing the worst thing ever, I was able to take apart the keyboard, and to be honest, the inside of it wasn't that bad. Like, obviously there was a lot of, like, there's a lot of dust and, like, specks and stuff inside of, the bottom case, but it really wasn't that bad. Just a quick, like, dusting with, my electric duster just got it all off pretty easily. The top aluminum plate hasn't been washed, like, ever since I got it. It really wasn't that hard to clean off. I just took some dish soap, ran it under some water, and just washed it off, and it got rid of all the stains. So, hey, at least the cleaning part was easier. So once all the cleaning was aside, now I just had to lube all the stabilizers and clip some of the stabilizer legs as well. This was pretty straightforward. I just took some flush cutters, clipped off the little fangs on the stabilizers, and then I just lubed the housings with some 205 grade 0, and then I lubed the wires with some dielectric grease, and I also did the Holy mod, mostly just because I wanted to try doing that, and for the most part it worked out pretty well. I struggled a bit trying to Holy mod the first few, but after I did the first few, I just sort of continued doing it, and I think it turned out pretty well. There was a slight mishap where I tried to test the spacebar, but I installed the stabilizer stems incorrectly, even though in the back of my head I knew how I should have installed them. Did I just put the stabs together incorrectly? That has to be the case, because I put it in the way I put it there, but... Oh my god, I'm stupid. I'm very stupid. But, you know, either way, it really wasn't that bad. And I also put some extra band-aids in the places where the stabilizers went onto the plate, since they were plate-mounted stabilizers, and they sort of rattled in the slots where they went into. So adding the extra band-aid sort of filled up that space and made it less rattly. And lastly, there's one more mod that I wanted to put into place for this upgrade, and it was the Tempest Tape mod, where essentially I took some painter's tape and I just applied one layer of it on the back of the PCB. I didn't really want to experiment with like too many layers, so I just sort of stuck with one layer, and I think it sounds fine. So after cutting off some more excess tape and making holes for the screw holes, it was time to put the whole keyboard back together. I started by putting the PCB into the bottom case to help with poking out the holes, and then I just put the top plate back on with all the stabilizers installed, and then I installed all the switches. Thankfully the pins on these switches are actually pretty thin, so they did actually fit into the Otemu hot swap sockets pretty easily. And last but not least, I just had to put the keycaps on, and that's the build, or upgrade, I guess. I won't lie, I am pretty jealous because I do really like how this keyboard looks. That aside, I do hope that my sister does enjoy this keyboard. Honestly, I really liked how this turned out. For my first time modding a keyboard, I don't think I did terribly. And now, last but not least, the typing test. There's going to be 2 typing tests. One is going to be with my current mic settings, and the other is going to just be my stock Blue Yeti settings. I'm using a typing test with my current settings because the original typing test with the Otemu Blues was done with my current settings, and I thought I might as well use my current settings for the sake of fairness. Oh yeah, also do note that I sort of did scuff the keycap on the enter key, so it will sound a bit scuffed in the typing test, but I did make sure to flatten out the keycap afterwards, and yeah, it sounds fine. Anyways, here you go. Hey, that's pretty cool. Alright. And yeah, that's about it. All this was recorded and edited a few days after I gifted it to her, and needless to say, she loved the keyboard. I'm very happy that she enjoyed it, and honestly, I'm very happy with myself with how well the keyboard turned out, or at least how I feel the keyboard turned out. I don't know if I'm gonna be. I don't know if I'll make more keyboard content. Maybe if like a friend wants me to mod their keyboard or some shit, maybe I will, and I'll just do that. But I don't know. I sort of wanted to try something new with the content I make, and this is probably like the most I don't want to say easily accessible, but probably the closest thing I can make like as soon as possible, other than like OSU tournament shit. But yeah, I might do more stuff like this in the future, so if you think there's anything I can improve on, then do let me know. Obviously there are certain things like putting my mic somewhere where it doesn't like resonate my desk sounds, and I wish I could, but I don't know, we'll see. I'll probably try and work something out in that regard. But either way, I hope you enjoyed watching this. Thank you if you watched this whole thing, and yeah, I'll see you all later with maybe more keyboard content, but most likely more OSU content, because I don't know what else to fucking make.